Hello, my name is Hunter Brammer. I am a freshman here at Clemson University majoring in business from High Point, North Carolina, and this is my new student dialogue. So, at my new student dialogue, which was titled Privilege, it was designed to be a dialogue on privilege and how each and every one of us is privileged in one way or another. But it kind of transitioned from there, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But it, as a group, I think we all achieved a true dialogue because instead of debating or discussing which are like where you argue your side or you think one side is better than the other, you kind of like come together and connect as a community, and kind of like relate to other people instead of putting other people down and ignoring their beliefs and just counting them as wrong. It's kind of awkward for some people to speak up in big group settings, but I'm kind of an outgoing person, so it wasn't that difficult for myself. I could see where other people struggle, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal for me. So I was pretty vocal in our conversations. Our leaders did an okay job on discussing the I guess the prompt or the main point of privilege, but I mean, at first we talked about privilege. We stood in a line where they would read a fact about you or something, and if you were that fact, you would take a step forward. If you weren't, you would take a step backwards, and pretty much like it characterized those facts as what made you privileged and what made you and what like hindered you from being privileged. So, like when you would take a step back. So a couple people in the group didn't really like doing that just because it kind of like makes you feel unprivileged when you take a step backwards, when you as an individual may believe that that fact about you actually makes you privileged instead of like kind of takes away from yourself. So a couple people in the class didn't really appreciate that, but that's what we started out at, and then after that we kind of pretty much just moved to like a social identity wheel where you like map out where like your ethnicity, your race, your religion, your socioeconomic class, your gender, your sexual orientation, age, national origin, first language, and physical, emotional, developmental abilities. Pretty much everything that makes you, that characterizes you as you, that you could write down on paper instead of emotions and characteristics of yourself. It's hard facts about you. And then from there, we like numbered off which ones were the most important to us, or affected us the most in everyday life. So some people put religion, which I did for my number one, because my religion is like how I live my life and why I choose the choices I make during the day, and like what affects me and how I interact with people. So we moved on from there, and pretty much just instead of making the whole thing about privilege and how you're privileged, it was more towards the end. It just kind of changed into a respect everybody else's beliefs, their characteristics about them, pretty much like their social identity, like what we were talking about, which it was good, but it was kind of off topic. I think it was good for a new student to look in and see where you should be accepting, meeting new people, and you shouldn't judge when you're going into a new environment and that kind of stuff. So overall, it was a pretty good dialogue. I think we all did. We all succeeded in um, getting to know other people that weren't like us and some that were like us. So um, the dialogue went pretty well. So that's my new student dialogue. God bless.